my journey of healing my trauma and how traditional therapy and counseling did not work for me, and it does not work for millions and millions of people. And I've been able to help myself, and I'm still on my journey. There's always more layers to go. And I've been able to coach now over 10,000 people and have thousands of testimonials of clients that I've taken through transformation work, trauma work, belief work, integration work. I want to show you my journey and how you can do the same if you're on the journey to heal, to grow, to do integration, to overcome your triggers, to overcome your shadows, your overcompensation patterns, whatever it may be. I'm going to break down literally all the things I've done to this day, show you which ones I'd recommend, and hopefully add some value to you today. The only request I got for you guys is if you could honestly just like this video and subscribe. It takes you like 2 seconds, and it just helps the channel grow, and I get to help more people. So let's begin. So my journey when it comes to healing with trauma and what I've been through. Firstly, my upbringing. I grew up with a very emotionally volatile father and family upbringing. There was physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. In my book, I've written a book, if you're not aware, I share a story about how my brother and my dad, it's called the Inspired Life Method, if you haven't grabbed a copy. I share this in the trauma chapter of a memory that I have that my brother and dad were having a very verbal fight at home. I won't repeat the words that were used, the F word, the C word, and all these things. My brother ran down the hallway, locked himself in his room. I was next door in my room with my door closed, freaking out, really anxious, really overwhelmed. My dad physically broke down the door, tore down the door to get into my brother. I actually disassociated, and I actually can't remember what happened after that. And I spoke to my brother actually before telling him I was going to share the story in my book to ask his opinion on it. And he said, whoa, I haven't thought about that in a while. And he said literally this. He said, that was just normal for us growing up. Interesting, right? Anyways, that was my type of childhood. I was diagnosed with Asperger's, autism, ADHD, and anxiety. I was recommended to go on medications. My dad thankfully actually suggested against doing that, which I'm really grateful that he did. And I've been on a journey for 10 years consciously of healing. And I'll tell you where I got started, what worked for me, what did not work, and again, maybe something that can help you on your healing journey. So I want to start with this. I tried traditional therapy and counseling through school and when I was younger in my teens, and it did not help me. It was just kind of like talking. It didn't really address anything. I kind of left it confused and like worse, to be honest with you. Like I was dating myself more. I had these limitations they were giving me, and it just did not help me. And because I had my background of being diagnosed with Asperger's and autism and ADHD and all these things, I was really resistive to continuing that path. And then I didn't know where to go. I didn't really have a mindset of I'm going to go heal my trauma. I didn't really have that mindset about me, to be honest with you. I got started in the gym chapter. If you don't know that side of me, I opened 3 gyms by the age of 23, and I was in that real hustle, grind mode. But I got introduced to self-development at 18 years old. I got introduced to Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is where I started. Now, if anyone that's done Tony Robbins, he is absolutely phenomenal. I joke and say Tony Robbins is the gateway drug to self-development. He has helped probably the most amount of people I think anyone will ever help when it comes to self-development and the transformation work that he does, and is absolutely life-changing. I don't believe he has the depth to him compared to other people that are out there, like a John Demartini, which I'll touch on later. But I think he is absolutely phenomenal for getting the ball rolling. So I went to his event. It's called Unleash the Power Within, the UPW, where you do the firewalk. And if you've done the event, you know what I'm talking about. Make a move, say yes, and all this stuff. And at that event, he does a limiting belief process. He calls it his Dickens process. And if you've done the event, you'll know what I mean. So essentially the process is removing a limiting belief. So you go through it. I think you identify 3. And from memory, from my first one, when I went to when I was 19. So I started consuming his content when I was 18, just YouTube, books, and just like consuming his content. And then I went to the event, I think I was 19 years old or 20 years old when I was at the UPW event itself. And we do this belief process, and you're going to find your limitations. He teaches it, what beliefs are. And then you find some beliefs and you remove them using the Dickens process. And I believe my beliefs that I used was relationships are painful. And you can wonder why I was single, because I didn't want to get into relationships because they were painful, because of my upbringing, because of my conditioning. It all made sense. And it was something around money, that I'm not worthy of money, I believe. And that single event was so life-changing at that point in my journey that I had such growth and transformation out of that event. because he also equips you with tools of how to change your state, make your moves, say yes, and all those things, because he actually gives you practical tools to remove limiting beliefs, doing the Dickens process, and changing your state, your emotional state that you're in. And it was absolutely life-changing. Removing beliefs is one of the core parts of what I do with my clients to this day, and perceptions, which I'll get to later, but it was absolutely life-changing. That was kind of like the breakthrough of holy dooly, this is amazing. I'm trying not to swear on these videos now for YouTube reasons, but it was absolutely mind-blowing. And if you've done his events or his content, you know how powerful his work is. So that's where it got me started. And I was just like, honestly addicted. This was like, I want to learn more about this, how this works, how can I do more of this? And then I got into actually doing certifications. So from doing Tony Robbins UPW, and I did that event 3 times, by the way. So I did twice in person and once online. And then I'm going to his Date with Destiny. I tried to do that, but COVID happened and I haven't been able to go to it, but I'm actually doing it at the end of this year, which I'm excited for. Then I got into NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming. And that's essentially what his process was. So neuro-linguistic programming is essentially using your words and the language that you use to code your mind, your conditioning, and your beliefs. So that's what his Dickens process is. It's essentially an NLP tool. So I got certified in that. I can't remember years ago now, but I did NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. I did timeline therapy. I did hypnotherapy and negative emotional release techniques. So I got certified in those modalities. It was one big ass course. So I think it was like a 6-day course that you go through and like weeks of like post integration work and all this stuff. And I actually did that certification twice. So I went through it twice to really refine it and understand it. And I was starting to equip myself because I wanted to. This has been my journey for self-growth so far and healing. And now me being the coach that I am today is I try myself, because you can't help others until you help yourself. So I'll try something, and I'm going to give you a list of things that I've tried. I'll try something like Reiki healing as an example. Reiki healing, I've tried that. It was awesome. Got a huge breakthrough. Then if I'm like, this is so amazing and I'm aligned with it, I'm going to go get certified in it if that's an option. So Reiki as an example, I loved it. It was life-changing, but I wasn't that aligned with the style and the techniques itself. So I didn't get certified in that. But NLP, I loved it. It was incredible. So I'm like, let's get certified in this. Breathwork. I've done breathwork. I'm certified as a breathwork facilitator. Probably the biggest person that shifted me the most when it comes to trauma, when it comes to healing, when it comes to practical tools to use for your own healing and for others is Dr. John Demartini. His Demartini Method is absolutely phenomenal. The book behind me, it's called The Breakthrough Experience. It's my favorite self-development book, besides my book, obviously, The Inspired Life Method, because I have my balancing process in here, which is essentially built upon John's work. So John has his Demartini Method. My balancing process is a cousin of the Demartini Method, but I use those other techniques I mentioned in the process. I use timeline therapy, I use hypnotherapy, I use NLP, I use negative emotional release techniques in my balancing process to use other tools and different modalities. So I'm kind of going all over the shop, but this has been my journey when it comes to healing. I'll read out some other things that I've done. So I've done NLC, I did that certification. So that was neuro-linguistic coaching. So that was just like, it's like a version of NLP. It's just like another variant of that. I didn't get a ton out of that, but it was just good to reaffirm certain things. Now, these are ones that I've tried that I didn't get certified in because, again, I wasn't that aligned with them. So I've done Reiki healing, I've done sound healing, I've done rage releasing. So I've done like a lot of men's circles and men's retreats. So you do rage releasing. So essentially you do like this exercise where they get you really fired up and you get really angry and you just express your anger. So to express whatever anger you got locked inside of you. We did a shame circle. So I've done shame circles. So essentially you can do them naked or with clothes on. This one I did was actually with clothes off. So we were naked. So essentially I was at a men's retreat. It's a bit of a funny story. I'll share it quickly. So we're at this men's retreat and they're building up like this big event that we're going to be doing. We're at the barn, like literally the location, the Airbnb was called the barn, this huge like shed barn looking thing. And everyone's lined up outside and you're like in single file. And I think I'm like 4th or 5th in line. And there's like a person at the front door and you walk up to this person and he asks you, what's your intention for this event, for this retreat that we're at? And I think I wrote down to let go and to go all in. That was my intention. And then he writes it down and then he hands it to someone on the other side of the door. And then he's like, you can go in now. So you walk in through this door and then you're like in this hallway. And at the end of the hallway, there's like a tarp. Like you can't see what's on the other side. So it's like you can just see the hallway. And there's another person at the end. His name's Corey. Corey, if you're watching this, sup brother. And he's at the end of the hallway. And we're at a men's retreat. So I actually thought we were going to do like some primal wrestling. I thought we were going to like beat each other up and do like some primal wrestling stuff. And so I'm like ready to tackle someone. I'm ready to like get into it. And I walk up to see Corey, who's at the end of the hallway, and the tarp's there, so I can't see what's on the other side. And he's got my card that I wrote down to let go, to go all in. And he comes up to me, looks me dead in the eye. He says, "You ready to go all in? Ready to surrender? You ready to do this?" And I'm like, fuck, yeah, let's do it. I'm like fired up, ready to go. Let's do it. Because I think I'm about to go tackle someone. I think I'm about to go like wrestle someone because we're at a men's retreat. We're going to get like primal and stuff. Anyways, he's like, "You don't have to do it, but do it." Because I actually know Corey well as a personal friend. He's like, "You can go in." So I rip the tarp through, open, I like jump into the room. I'm ready to like tackle someone. I'm fired up, ready to go. And I just see 5 naked men. So the people that were in front of me, plus like some of the facilitators, just literally butt naked, like all their genitals hanging out there. And they're all just standing open-handed, like looking at me. And it kind of like changed my state quickly. I was like, okay, this is not a wrestle session. And I had heard of what a shame circle is. So then it clicked in, okay, this is what we're doing. And I didn't have resistance to it. So I just dropped the pants down, dropped the clothes off, went and stood in the circle and joined the circle. And then you repeated that. And then everyone else would come in. And honestly, some people would come in and start crying straight away. Because a lot of men, and people full stop, but there's obviously a men's retreat. A lot of humans have shame around their sexuality, the size of their penis, the shape of their genitals, the shape of their body, and they shame themselves for it. So literally, some people would walk in to this exercise and just literally, without even taking their clothes off, just seeing these naked people, just start crying. Like there's like shame around sexuality just comes up. And then some people did not do the exercise. They would walk to the back of the room. You don't have to do it. Some people joined and they didn't get completely naked. They got down into their undies, etc. And essentially, what would happen? This shame circle is everyone's butt naked, or most people are butt naked. And then the facilitator would say, "Step into the circle if you've ever cheated on your partner. Step into the circle if you've ever if you've ever consumed pornography. Step into the circle if you've ever done blah blah blah." And the goal is to step into the circle and be seen in your shame, because shame only has power by being unspeakable. So that's an exercise as an example. Now, was it the most life-changing thing I've ever done? Honestly, no, because I've done like Demartini, I've done some integration work, I've done some shadow work, I've done breath work, I've done a lot of things. So I was a bit more seasoned in terms of a self-development person by that point. I think if I started my journey there, it would have been a lot different. But that's an example of a shame circle. So I enjoyed it, but I don't run shame circles. So if you guys come to my events, we're not doing shame circles, just so you know. So I'm not going to be doing that at my events anytime soon anyways. So that's a shame circle, in case you didn't know. So I've done that. I've done eye gazing. So it's essentially just look into other people's eyes and breathe and connect with them. I've done men's circles, as I mentioned. I've done somatic work. I've done meditations. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I've done a lot of his meditations. I want to go to one of his retreats in the future. So those are some of the things that I've done with my self-growth journey. To continue the certifications I've done, so to read them back to you, I've done NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, negative emotional release techniques. I've done NLC, which is neuro-linguistic coaching. I've done Demartini. So I'm a Demartini facilitator. And again, John Demartini has probably shifted me the most when it comes to self-development and growth and integration work. I've done breathwork. So I'm a breathwork facilitator. And with the breathwork certification, they also did a trauma and nervous system certification. So that came along with it. And I've done holographics. Holographics is a version of Demartini. I think it's deeper than Demartini, to be honest. I think it's the deepest modality I've ever experienced when it comes to integration work. I just don't think it's needed, just to be super transparent. I think it goes deeper than what most people need. Most people don't need it because it's like, to be honest with you, a holographic session can go for 12 hours. And I'm like, who the F wants to do an integration process for 12 hours where my balancing process can take 60 to 90 minutes. It can take longer depending on the person. I think the longest I've seen is 3 hours, 5 hours. And that's a self-paced version versus like the 12-hour version of holographics. There was a facilitator one-on-one and it took 12 hours. Like the longest session I've done one-on-one with the client is about 2 hours. And that's me going, like, holding this person accountable. So again, I think holographics is fantastic. I just think some of it's not needed when it comes to integration and breakthrough work. That's just my personal opinion. So those are the 9 that I've done. I've been certified in 9 different modalities for healing, integration, all these things. And I tallied it up a couple of months ago. I think I've tried over 25. So shadow work, breath work, Reiki healing, sound healing, eye gazing, shame circles, rage releasing, meditations, all those things. And that's been my journey. And that's what's been able to help me be where I am today. And I've still got a ton to work on. I'm a human being. There's more layers to get into, right? And this is what I use to help my clients with. So I love this analogy. There's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who knows every martial art and pulls from the right one at the right time to get the right result. Bruce Lee said this. So some people say, what's the best modality or technique to heal trauma? It's not that one's better than the other. They all have their time and their right place. Are there some ways that don't integrate the root cause to the trauma? Yes, I agree to that. To be honest with you, talk therapy and traditional therapy does that a lot. It's a good stepping stone, but a lot of talk therapy doesn't integrate or process the perception, the limitation, or the root cause to the quote trauma or the pain that's playing out. Now, some individual therapists do. I've met individual therapists that do it, but as a foundation, talk therapy, traditional therapy does not integrate it. And I've had hundreds of clients come to me and say word for word, I've been doing therapy for months, years, decades. 45 years is the longest one that I've seen of one of my clients that come to me. 45 years of talk therapy, and they never integrated it properly. So again, right tool, right time, get the right result. So I don't think one modality is superior to all of them, because like Demartini as an example, I think Demartini is the best mental processing tool on the planet. I think it's better than NLP. I think it's better than timeline therapy. I think it's better than talk therapy, obviously. I think it's the best mental tool. However, it doesn't really touch on the other bodies. There's 5 bodies. I'll actually show my screen for you guys right now. If you're not watching the screen, I would suggest looking at my screen because I'm showing my screen. So my definition of inner work is to dissolve, heal the wounds and blockages that are masking your true self. If you've heard of the Statue of David before, there's a quote from Michelangelo that says really, really well. Michelangelo, when asked how he made such a beautiful statue, he said, "It was easy. David was always in the statue. I just chipped away anything that wasn't him." So again, that's what essentially inner work is. It's healing or integrating your wounds, personas, and layers that are limiting the fullness of who you are. I love this quote here. Inner work is the process of loving or integrating all parts of who you are. I use this example a lot in my content. When a baby is born, what parts of a baby is worthy of love? All parts. All parts are worthy of love. But then we go through trauma, which is we create lopsided perceptions, which is very Demartini teaching, that some parts of us are not lovable. Then we shame and disown those parts of who we are. That's what shadow work is, by the way. So, hope this is making sense. But there's 5 bodies, which is what I want to teach you guys quickly. There's 5 bodies to heal or integrate or address on your healing journey, your trauma journey. There's the mental body, which is what most people think about of trauma, conscious, unconscious mind, memories, perceptions, beliefs. You've got the physical body. This is somatics. If you've heard the issues are in the tissues, this is what somatics are. You've got the emotional body. This is your suppressed emotions and your nervous system. You've got the spiritual body. This is your soul, your spirit, shamanism, shamanic healing. You've got meditation that comes into this, plant medicine, ayahuascas come into this body as well. And then you've got the energetic body. This is like chakra centers, aura fields, biofields, Reiki healing, sound healing, the list goes on. Now you do all of these, you're going to reveal your true essence. You're going to reveal your true soul. And that's what inner work is all about. And that's where I say there's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist. So Demartini, I think, is the best mental tool on the planet, but it's like the opposite of what somatics are. Somatics is like moving the physical soma through body work. That's where Dr. Peter Levine can come into it. I'm actually learning his work at the moment, where he does somatic experiencing, where it's actually more to do with the soma itself. So this is a huge conversation. I love inner work. I love trauma work. I love integration work. It's my favorite topic. But this has been the journey that I've been on to heal myself and now to be able to heal thousands of people, to reach millions of people through my content, which I'm really grateful for. So I hope this helped out. What I would suggest if you want to start your journey, find someone that you feel comfortable with. These are the 3 tips I have for finding a coach or a therapist or someone to work with. Number 1 is you feel comfortable with them. Now, disclaimer, you have to have a little bit of courage to get started, because some people could say, I don't feel comfortable with anyone ever. So yes, there is a bit of courage that's required to step into inner healing work, but I do recommend find someone that you resonate with, that you connect with, that you feel comfortable with. That would be the first step. Number 2, the person you're working with is an embodiment of the work that they talk about. It's like the unhealthy personal trainer or the broke accountant. or like the person who's giving you advice on things they've learnt, but they haven't done it. Because there's a such deeper level of understanding of actually doing the thing rather than learning about the thing. It's good to learn about push-ups versus get down and do some push-ups. So is the person that you're working with actually embodying the work that they're preaching? That's what I recommend. And number 3, I would recommend the person you're working with, they have proven results for others. Because there's a difference between helping yourself and helping others. It's a different skill set. Some people are really good at helping themselves and they're fucking terrible at helping others. They just don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to use frameworks. They don't know how to hold space really well. It's just a different skill set. That's the 3 things I recommend when looking for someone to work with. If that happens to be me, if you feel comfortable with me, you think I'm an embodiment of the work that I do, and you think I've got testimonials, which I do. I've got fucking thousands of them. If you feel comfortable with me, I have a free 7-day program and a one-on-one call available where you actually get my balancing process, my limiting belief process, my grieving process. You get everything instantaneously for 7 days, and you get a one-on-one call with me. So it'll be there in the link somewhere. Grab it if you want to. And guys, hope you got value. Would love to hear your feedback. Love to know what tools you've tried. I'm always looking for some more tools to try and to get better with. Put it in the comments. Share, comment, subscribe. I love you. I appreciate you. Hope you got value. Speak to you soon. See ya.